Hello, and welcome to a vulnerable episode of the Drywall Podcast. I am your host, Nick Harmon. With us today, Clayton Ellery of Ace Wolf Interior Plastering out of Nelson, New Zealand joins us. Clayton has owned his own company for a little over 3 years, but it wasn't always easy.
About 3 years, just to get deep, about 3 years before COVID, that I got diagnosed with a fairly severe case of PTSD.
Okay.
So that I was just trying to get my head around that and failing miserably.
Yeah.
And then
What was the PTSD from?
childhood trauma.
Okay. We discuss relationships, mental health, and how his business struggled early on due to these challenges. But we also talk about his approach to drywall, running a business, and why family is so important. Clayton's a great guy, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Today's episode of the Drywall Podcast is brought to you by the wonderful folks over at GWI in Swindon, England. Established in 2021, GWI is the UK's fastest growing independent drywall finishing supplies store, supplying finishing products and taping tools to tradespeople nationwide. They hold brands such as WonderTex, Panel Ray Level 5, and of course, Fresco Harmony. They supply it and you apply it. You can find GWI online at www.gwiltd.com or by visiting the store in person in Swindon if you happen to be over there. They are open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Interested in advertising on the Drywall Podcast? It's easy and it's fun. You can reach out to me directly at info@frescoharmony.com. I'd love to discuss this opportunity with you. But for now, Clayton Ellery out of Nelson, New Zealand on the 87th Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. Very nice. All the way from New Zealand. What part of New Zealand?
Nelson.
And how far are you from Auckland?
About an hour and a half flight.
Okay. Not bad.
You can drive there in about 8 hours, but you got to go across the water on a ferry.
All right. Very cool. Clayton Ellery, Ace Wolf Interior Plaster out of Nelson, New Zealand. 28 years in the trade. Balling it.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
In New Zealand. Yeah?
Yeah.
You've always been there. Born and raised.
Yeah. Born and raised in a little, they called it a village.
A village.
The village of Wakefield.
Sounds lovely. Can I go there? Can I go there and just fall off the planet for a few years?
No, not anymore. It's been taken over by yuppies now.
By yuppies. Oh, it'd fit right in perfectly.
Yeah.
Nah, very cool. So this is the village of Nelson. It's grown a little bit.
So Nelson is classed as a city. It's
Okay.
It's not a bad size. It's a very relaxed place, almost a little bit too relaxed when it comes to the drivers of this town, but we won't get into that.
Let's get into it. What do you mean relaxed? Because drivers in Albuquerque are idiots. It's like slow down.
No, have you heard the term Sunday driver?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so we've got that every day of the week. Yeah, and it's like they can't get the hang of their road rules and stuff like that. It's quite a scary place to drive.
Because people drive so slowly. I'm assuming.
yeah, and it causes frustration and because a lot of people need to get to work and stuff like that. So there's a lot of road rage.
So you either have, yeah, I guess that's kind of here too. Yeah, don't be caught driving slow in Albuquerque because people will rage on you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I always find the car to be a very good place to practice presence. Like, not that I always succeed, but it is a good place where it's like if I find myself getting agitated, it's like, no, 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 no. You're traveling at 50 miles an hour. You don't need to go around this car. You're going to get there. Just
yeah,
calm down. It's going to be fine.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but sometimes you got to get to the job and you got somebody in front of you doing 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. There's that side of it too.
Exactly, exactly.
Cool. So 28 years in New Zealand. Are you a first generation drywaller?
Just lost a job, and
Okay.
one of my friends said that his boss was looking for someone.
Okay.
Um, so I went and met him, got the job, been doing it. I've had a couple of breaks in between. Um, so in that whole time, I've probably had like a couple of years stand down doing something different. Always come back to it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Um, one of the times I had a bit of a falling out with the boss, and
Okay. That sounds interesting. Can we talk about that? Did you get pissed off?
um,
Did you get pissed off and slug him in the face? What happened?
no, he was
Give him a
third Dan
shot?
black belt in karate, so
Oh, you don't want to mess with
so
that
that would have
dude.
ended badly for me. Um,
Uh,
but no, a Tyler got me in trouble.
a Tyler. You
Yeah,
gotta stay away from those
I
Tylers. They're
I
trouble.
despise them. I think they're cretins, but
They're
they're
what?
just
They're what?
they're cretins. They're shit people.
Cretins.
Bloody
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's the second word you've said that has really piqued my interest. Cretin. And then what did you call your kids? Your kidlets.
the the kidlets. Yeah,
That's my favorite. Have you listened to episodes of the Drywall Podcast yet?
yeah, yeah. So I just listened to Edmar Khalid. Is that
Khalid. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was a
So I
good
listened
one.
to yeah. And of course, I had to listen to that plastering girl because she's a fellow
Of
Kiwi.
course. Of course. Do you know her?
No,
You
no,
don't. You don't.
just by following her on, I think it's Instagram.
Super sweet. You should go over there and like do a job with her. That'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching some of the things that she does, and it was quite cool to watch. She looks good at what she does. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's no joke. I'll bet you she's a fantastic finisher.
yeah,
Kiwi. Why are New Zealander do all New Zealanders called Kiwis? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Why?
So the kiwi is our national bird.
Okay.
Um, it just went that way,
It
and we
just
just
went
call
that way.
ourselves
It's the
Kiwis.
national bird. So you're
Yeah.
the Kiwi. What does a Kiwi look like really quick if you could describe it?
Uh, it's short and stout and
Hmm.
can't fly. It's not a
Okay.
it's not the best bird, but and it's got a big long beak.
The Kiwi.
Yeah,
Hey, fun fact, Albuquerque, the state bird of New Mexico is a roadrunner, which also does
really
not fly. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Um, like the cartoon with the Roadrunner and the Coyote,
of course.
is is the Roadrunner depicted in that cartoon? Is it similar? Because I've never seen a picture of a
Yep.
Roadrunner. So
Yep. When they stop, they'll like run across the road. And
yeah,
then when they stop, their tail goes up. And then when they start running again, it folds down and they go.
fun.
You know what they look like is raptors, like from Jurassic Park. They look like raptors. They're really cool. They're beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. That's I want to
And
pet one.
yeah, and they're big. They're like
Are they?
big. And yeah, and the only time you see them together is when they're mating and they'll be chasing each other around.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot like people.
A lot like humans. I want to go back to the why you got fired cretin, the tile cretins. What happened?
So we were working in this big house and it had a lot of tiles in it. And I don't know if the tiler had it out for me, but he was following me around the house and coming into every room that I'd go into to do.
Yeah.
And he purposely would get in my way. And by the end of the day, I'd got bugger all done, and the boss had a go at me, so I lost it. And are we allowed to swear on here?
Fuck yes. But wait, you're skipping ahead a little bit. You're the tile guy, he's pissing you off. Okay, so let's
Yeah,
go back. Let's go back to the job. The tile guy's pissing you off. He's following you around. And if you don't know, if you're listening to the Drywall podcast and you're not familiar with the trade, which we do have some listeners
yeah,
that don't do drywall. The tile and the drywall is a very tough combo because the tile guy has the floors fucked. So you can't
yeah,
go in that room if you're doing drywall, I have to finish the whole house. But the tile guy, he's doing floors. So if they're laying tile, anywhere they're laying tile, you got
yeah,
to stay out of. So here's a fun fact. What the tile guy likes to do is they'll get there a little bit early, maybe on the day that the drywall guy's there. They'll jump into the room that you're
yeah,
fucking finishing and they'll lay down a bunch of tiles so that you can't go in there.
yeah,
And there's nothing that pisses off tradesmen more than when the general contractor piles the trades, the subcontractors on top of each other, because that's
yeah,
who's really at fault. If we get right down to it, it's the
yeah,
GC who's scheduling all this bullshit.
yeah.
Nobody should be in the house, or at least not in our way while we're trying to finish a job. Okay,
That's right.
that established. This tile guy's following you around. He's not just tiling in one room, he's following you around doing
Yeah,
little shit everywhere. And that's pissing
yeah.
you off.
So that made it a very unproductive day for me, because I was having to pack up my gear all the time and go somewhere else. I don't know if my boss thought I was lying and trying to make up excuses, but
Okay.
he got pissed off that I hadn't got much done, and
Okay.
I got pissed off back and
Yeah.
packed a bit of a tantrum and threw my toys and told him to get fucked and left.
Nice. You
So
told him to get fucked.
yeah,
Now, did you try to have a conversation with the tile guy?
he was an arrogant asshole. It was
What a
horrendous.
dick. What
Yeah,
a dick. You guys are butting heads. You're not able to
yeah,
get anything done. Sometimes too, we go into the job and we're just not in a good mood, you know? They're like something's
no,
happening, maybe life, maybe the dude like in front of you with driving like a Sunday driver like they always do in Nelson.
yeah,
And Clayton's trying to get to the job. You finally get there, and this tile guy's in your way all day long. And it's like, you don't even want to talk to that motherfucker. It's like, just stay out of my way, dude. I got to finish this whole house. So you tell the boss to get fucked. What do you do next? I mean, do you have regret because maybe you handled that poorly? Or are
um,
you relieved because that boss was a dick and you can find another job anyways?
no. So I ended up working back with him. I think it was good and bad. Um, I needed I needed the break.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
it also gave my boss an insight as to what he was actually missing when I left. Because
Ah,
I was a real good worker and he knew it, and I was
of
bloody like
course.
picked it up really fast. I was good at what I
Yep.
did.
Okay.
Um, and so he probably I think it took about a year, but he rang up and asked me back and gave me a pay rise. So it took a while, but
Okay.
um, got there.
Good, good, good. And what, if you don't mind, what was the name of that company?
AR Burns Plastering Limited.
LTD. What does that mean? Limited. You see it sometimes.
Yeah,
GWI Ltd.
yeah,
Shout out to GWI out of Swindon, England, for sponsoring this month in the Drywall Podcast. But it is www.gwi ltd. Why are you so limited? Where? What is,
yeah. I,
what's
I,
you don't
I
know?
don't get it. No,
Okay.
I'm just a plasterer.
Me too. I'm curious. I'm curious about what
Yeah,
limited means. If you know what limited means, feel free to text me or Clayton and let us know because it just seems like a foolish thing to put on the end of a business name. Oh, we're limited. And by the way, I'm limited. So don't ask me to
I
do more than
think
I'm capable.
what it's is it like it's limited. I think you're a limited liability company, possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But I don't know.
In here they abbreviate LLC, but yes, limited liability.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, is this the first company that you did plastering for?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This AR Burns, and then so what's the guy's name, if you don't mind?
Alan.
Alan. And how do you guys get
Yeah.
along now?
He has passed away, and we left on bad terms. So
Bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. You guys were, at each other anyways a little bit. Maybe there was some static there. R.I.P. Alan.
yeah,
Okay, so were you with this company when Alan passed, or I assume you left the company and then later on he
yeah,
passed?
yeah. So there's me and another guy, my offsider, David Deans. He, um, he left. He decided that it wasn't for him anymore, and he wanted to go start his own company.
Okay.
Um, and then things went downhill. Oh, he went funny, and he
Yeah.
decided that he wanted to retire, and basically told me that I didn't have a job anymore.
What do you mean he went
Um,
funny? What do you mean by that?
so he, I think he got real offended that Dave left.
And
Um,
Dave worked with Alan also. You and Dave were
yeah,
co-workers.
yeah, yeah. He's one of my
Okay.
besties. We're still,
He went funny.
yeah,
Al, old Al with AR Burns plaster. Was it Alan Burns, I assume?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so Dave, you work with this guy, David, and he's a finisher as well, a
yeah,
plasterer, as you call it, over
yeah,
in New Zealand, which is fine.
yeah,
Um, Dave leaves first,
yeah.
or you both leave at the same time. Al's
No.
like, I'm shifting gears. I got to let you guys go.
Uh, Dave left because him and Al butted heads on a job, um, and that pushed him to start his own business, which
Okay.
is advanced interior plastering.
Okay.
Advanced.
Dave starts his own business called Advanced Interior. Did you go work for him?
No, so we work together
Okay.
now,
Okay.
but he's got his company, I've got mine, and
Okay.
we basically just split the jobs down the middle. So
Throw in together. Yeah, that's smart.
yeah,
That's a good way to do it, huh?
yeah,
Because then also, not only do you get the job done faster, you're not so overwhelmed, but when something goes wrong, you can bitch at Dave.
exactly. You got to have someone to bitch at.
I'm getting that sense, Clayton. I'm
Yeah,
getting that sense from you. Would you say, and answer honestly, are you a tough guy to work with?
not
Or
if
do you think you're pretty easy? You're pretty easy to get along with.
you're working with me, I'm fine.
Okay.
If you are working against me and pissing me off, then I'm not so fine.
Just word to the wise, if you're ever in if you're ever in Nelson and you're working with Clayton, don't piss him off.
Yeah.
Just just don't. What would be, and I get what you're saying, but would you say, and I'm sure you and Dave have butted heads, but like you guys get along okay? You guys work together pretty well. Was it difficult to start working together? And did you have to sort of flesh out a system or a method that works well for you two?
No, so we've been working together for must be about 20 odd years.
Oh, wow.
And
Long time.
yeah, and in that time we've probably had maybe two mild altercations.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
No, no, and it's sorted instantly. Like we had a bit of a thing there a few weeks back, and
Nice.
at the job site, and he gave me a phone call about 10 minutes later and apologized. So it's that sort of thing. Like nothing gets unresolved.
Yeah, he pissed you off. And
He just said something stupid, and
what did he
and
say? What did he say? Now wait,
um,
is he gonna listen to this podcast? He fucking better.
um yeah, he probably will.
He better. What did he say?
Oh no, it was just things weren't going right on a job, and
Okay.
we were supposed to start it. Like we got just so many jobs on at the same time, and none of the
Okay.
houses were running to time.
Okay.
And we turned up at this house, and a lot of the jib board wasn't on the walls,
Eh,
so um, that pissed us both off. And
right.
then I was sort of getting fired up and tell the builders to pull their heads out of their ass and actually get things done on time.
Right.
He knows that I can get a bit fiery and
Yeah.
unpleasant to talk to if I'm on the phone with like management or something.
Right. Is that a
Um,
cat? Is that a cat on your side?
yeah, yeah, we've got
I have a cat too that's really loud. So he's chimed up a couple times while I've been.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's just had kittens, so she's in mama mode.
I was like, is that
Both of
my
them.
cat? Is that my
Yeah.
cat? Oh boy, I've got a dog too. So I'm wrangling. It's like wrangling a bunch of things here. I took my kid over to his mom so that I could do this. There's always stuff, always stuff. Speaking of kiddos, are you
Well,
married with
just got up.
kids? What do you got? What do you got? What are we looking at over
Um, Me and my wife, we've got 7 kids between us.
there? Dude, congratulations. You
And
have the
none of them
most
together.
you have the most kids of anyone on the podcast thus far. So
No,
you take the cake for that, obviously. 7.
yeah,
That's more than the
yeah,
Brady Bunch. Are you familiar with
yeah, yeah,
the 70s and 80s show The Brady Bunch? Yeah, they
yeah.
only had 6. None of the kids together.
No, no.
Wow.
So she's got 3 and I've got 4.
Okay. All right. Cool. How long have you been together with her?
About 6 years and married
Okay.
just over 1.
Congratulations. What are the ages of the kiddos? What
Okay,
do we
so
got?
I've got twin girls who are 19.
Okay. A
Uh,
little older.
uh, yeah, and then 2 boys, and one's 15 and one's 11.
Okay.
And then Chloe has 3, and she's a 17-year-old going on 30,
Right.
and
Of course.
yeah.
How do the kids
Um,
get along together? Let me finish though. Finish. We got
so
okay.
Chloe's daughter is 17, and then she's
Chloe's
got 2
daughter.
boys as well, and
Okay.
one's, what are you, 9, 8,
8.
4, yeah.
That's
Um,
my son's 8.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Good
a
age.
cool age. He's not a bad wee popper.
He's not bad. What's his name?
Tyler.
Tyler. Shout out to Tyler. He's there with you. He's hanging out.
Yeah.
Does
Sitting on his
Does
finger.
Tyler know what a podcast is?
You know what a podcast is? Yeah, so you can listen to podcasts, but we're making a podcast at the moment, so people will
Yeah.
get to listen to us.
Yeah,
So
he'll
I'm
get to
basically
listen to
saying,
it. Yeah, Clayton is famous. It's Tyler, right?
yeah,
Does Tyler have anything he wants to say to the drywall community right now? He's got one shot, one thing. If he could tell the world, what would it be?
Want to say something?
That Clayton's the best stepdad.
Yeah.
Clayton is the best stepdad ever.
Yep.
Awesome. Dude, that is my favorite. That's the
Not
favorite
wrong.
thing I've ever heard. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Just
Mm.
don't make him mad, Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler probably knows better than anybody.
I'm a puppy dog.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. So we fast forwarded a little bit. You've been working with Dave for a long time. You guys kind of work together now. How long had you been? You've been in the trade 28 years. How old are you,
Yeah.
if you don't mind my asking?
So I'm 46.
Okay. 46. And then how long had you been in the trade when you left AR Burns Plaster Ltd?
So my business is about three and a half years old.
Okay, pretty fresh.
Yeah.
And your business is maybe one of the coolest business names that we've had on the Drywall Podcast, Ace Wolf Interior Plaster.
Yeah.
And I guess you could shorten that down to AWIP. Have a little
Maybe.
acronym,
Yeah.
like a cool acronym. That'd be kind of cool. I do like Ace Wolf Interior Plaster, though. That's cool.
Yeah, I got a bit of slack for it at the beginning.
Why?
Mainly from my accountant. He looked at me and told me I was crazy and that it's a how did he put it? An angry name that might scare people off.
Yeah, but
Something.
you've got a little bit of a wolfy edge there to you, Clayton. Like so.
Yeah. There's a few meanings behind the name, but
What would you say what's the meaning there? I mean, what'd you tell your accountant?
So I've always been a big gamer.
Okay.
Like on Xbox, and I had an Amiga 500 was the first computer I ever bought.
Okay.
And my gamer tag was always, if you could only pick three letters, it's always Ace. But if you got to put the name in, it was always Ace Wolf.
I haven't seen your logo. Maybe I haven't looked close enough. I think it's on your Instagram handle. What do we got? Pull it up there. That's cool. Ace Wolf with the 4 aces. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Do you play cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Play a
too.
bit of poker. So
Yeah, me too. Me too. Very cool. So a mere 3.5 years ago, you start your business. We've got a gap in the story. Did you leave Allen's 3.5 years ago?
yeah, so he decided that he wanted to retire,
Okay.
and gave me about a week's notice and said, you need to
Good
find
luck.
somewhere else.
Good luck,
So
Ace Wolf.
yeah, so that didn't go down too well. And then I got the business started, and then because he'd promised me, like he said, he'd help me get set up and give me all the tradies and stuff that had collected over the years,
Okay.
like just to put my mind at ease. But then he decided that he didn't really want to retire, so he started taking some of the jobs back, which I took great offense to.
Maybe
And
he was like telling you that he was retiring just as a way to ease letting you go.
no, because the original plan was I was going to take over his business.
Okay.
Well, that was always the plan for the last 20 years. That's what he's
Okay.
always told me, is that I'll get the business and he'll give me like the truck and like everything, and just he'll
Okay.
walk away and I'll take over.
Okay.
And then when it came down to it, that all went out the window, and it was a bit rough,
Yeah.
to be honest. And
And then
then
he got ill after that, or maybe he was ill during it. Did he come down with something that maybe he knew about that was causing him to sort of look at his life in a different way? Did
um,
him dying have anything to do with ending the business?
I I I think it did.
Sure.
He had a heart attack, but I
Okay.
think we had a big falling out,
Yeah.
and I wasn't nice to him.
Okay. All right. You do you feel regret about that? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, it's and this is good. This is like, this is life. Like I remember I lost my brother in 91 in 1991. I
Yeah,
remember the last thing I said to him was like, I'll see you later, you know.
yeah,
This is just a life lesson of like sometimes when you're walking around to be aware that of where other people are at, you know?
yeah,
You never know where someone's at in their journey. And like,
exactly.
it might be the last time you ever talk to them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's also important to keep your side of the road clean. Like, I really liked when Dave, you guys had a small fight, and Dave called you back 10 minutes later and was like, hey, man, let's sort it out. That's a good friend. Because
yeah,
I don't think friendship is defined by how well we get along with the other person. It's kind of defined by how well you can get over shit,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah,
that. So I'm sorry to hear that. It's a bummer. It's just a bummer, but
yeah,
it's part of your
yeah,
story a little bit. Whatever the reason it drove you out to start Ace Wolf, you left, you were pissed off. Maybe you should have gotten the business. You didn't,
yeah.
for whatever reason, and you start Ace Wolf. Is that challenging to start a business like that in New Zealand?
Um, it was for me all the COVID stuff. Um,
Oh, right.
it's been a struggle. I'm not gonna
Fuck.
lie. It's been
Yeah. You would have started right at the start of
yeah.
COVID. How far before COVID did you start your business?
Must have been maybe 3 or 4 months.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So that was challenging. You lost your job. Challenges with Al.
yeah,
You're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start my own drywall company. Bam, COVID
yeah,
hits.
yeah,
Ugh. And so, I mean, I was established, so we had jobs, and in construction, you were kind of deemed essential, so we could trickle along, like nobody's
yeah,
on the job. I'm going to show up with my mask. We're going to work.
yeah,
I was still getting money. Nobody's on the road. Like it was sweet,
yeah.
kind of, but you weren't an established business yet. What did you do?
Well, New Zealand during COVID was brutal.
Yeah,
And we like the only essential people were basically cops
yeah.
and paramedics and stuff like that. Like that's about it. Everyone else, you didn't have a choice.
You just stayed in your house.
Yeah,
Yeah. On lockdown. But I mean, on the plus side, you had 7 kids to keep you company.
yeah. It was great having 7 kids locked in a house together. It was no, we've only got hers 3 like full time, and
Okay, yeah. The older
I
ones are probably doing stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so during COVID, are you doing anything to promote or get your business, doing anything business oriented to maybe social media? How are you bolstering business or focusing on your business during a time when you have to absolutely be in your house?
I have a tendency of burying my head in the sand if things aren't going my way.
Sure,
Um,
I understand.
yeah, I didn't handle it well. I
Okay.
my drinking stepped up
Okay.
um, on Xbox all the time. I
Yeah.
sort of became a shell of
Yeah.
myself, which
Yeah.
wasn't productive in at all. But I'd had my like social media in place, like the Facebook page, Instagram
Okay.
page that is very. I've just started adding a few more pictures.
Yeah.
You guys have got me inspired to actually start
Good.
because they're there, but I never added anything. So
What do
now
you
I want to
mean? What
start.
do you mean, you guys? What do you mean, you guys?
Or like with you, like hearing some of the podcasts and how much social media has helped businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
And because I like, it's one of those things, you know that it does, but you don't really think about it too much if you're not so focused on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey man, I'll take that as a huge compliment. I think
yeah,
that, yeah, community we're talking about, which comes up a lot. Like we're building community a lot of time as a drywaller, especially if you're at home during COVID and you don't have any work and you just started a business.
yeah,
Um, you're not alone. Like people got depressed, people
yeah,
drank. There was like two ways people would do it. They would either like start doing like workout on Zoom and get freakishly strong, or they like would sink into depression and like, addiction, like this sort of
yeah,
thing. I mean, everybody handled it in their own way, but I don't think it was easy for anybody. It was very testing to our well-being, as a humanity.
yeah.
Um,
I about 3 years, just to get deep, about 3 years
yeah,
before COVID, that I got diagnosed with a fairly severe case of PTSD.
okay,
Um, so that I was just trying to get my head around that and failing miserably.
yeah.
Um, and then
What was the PTSD from?
childhood trauma.
Okay, so sorry, you were trying to get your head around that a little bit. Maybe you got
Yeah.
diagnosed PTSD.
So I was lucky enough to find Chloe. She
Sure.
she was she was a godsend.
Yeah,
She yeah, I if I hadn't met her, I don't know if I'd still be here, to be honest.
fair enough. How did you meet Chloe?
Tinder.
Fucking
Tinder.
internet.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. That's cool.
yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
We're a success story.
And I just want to say too, Clayton, I really appreciate you being honest and candid. This is cool. It's easy too on social media to pretend like everything's great,
Yeah,
I'm going through shit right now. My kid was in the hospital this last
yeah,
weekend. It really shifts things. It's the first time I'd really been scared. He was hooked up to stuff. He had influenza B and it just got really bad. He had a seizure. Life comes at you sometimes, and I don't always handle it right. I get mad. I fought with my mom this morning. Like, we all paint a really pretty picture on social media, but the reality is, like, life goes on and we all have our challenges. And I really appreciate you being candid. This is life. Um, and for drywall, it's not always easy. This is a tough trade. Maybe it doesn't matter what country you're in. It's hard,
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
So maybe you've got some stuff going into COVID. Let's fast forward a little bit. How are you doing now with your business? Seems like you're okay coming out of COVID. You're jumping a little bit more on social media. Maybe you're getting inspired by some of the cool stuff you're seeing.
Yeah. Um, we've so Nelson has had a massive housing boom for the last
Beautiful.
long time until about 6 months ago.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's nationwide too. It started to slow down here too.
yeah, and so the last maybe 4 months, up until the last month, sorry, last month was just ridiculous, and we were working 7 days a week,
Okay.
massive days. But before that, we were lucky to have maybe a house a month.
Okay.
So it was it's been a very, very testing time lately. But
Okay.
yeah, I was concerned I was going to have to close up shop for a while. So, but we've come out the other side.
Okay. How would you say that you are as a business owner? Are you pretty good at it with the books
Um,
and taxes and insurance and all that stuff?
no, no, I'm
Yeah.
horrendous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too. It's hard.
yeah. No, I've got an accountant. Um,
Who does not like your name?
no, so I got another accountant. My original accountant ended up um leaving who he was with, and his father was a real good friend of my father.
Okay.
So that's why I signed up with him. And then when he left the company, I was like, well, I'm not, I don't really like your company. I liked you. And then so I found someone else that was more suited to me.
Okay. Good. Accounting, I've found bookkeeping and accounting very challenging here in New Mexico. I've been through a slew of them, and it's
Yeah.
for this as simple as I feel like my business is, my business models. I have two, just a
Yeah.
nightmare. Nightmare.
Yeah.
It's I feel like it's a conspiracy, that it's so difficult that it's some sort of conspiracy to keep like independent business owners spinning their wheels so that they don't
Yeah.
make any money.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
It's,
alone there. I don't know.
no, I'd agree with that.
Cool. Let's dive into drywall a little bit.
Yeah.
What type of finish? What type of finisher are you? Are you a hand finisher? Do you use the tools?
So for 80% of my work life, I've been a hawk and trail.
Okay,
Um,
like everything, like
everything.
butts, bands.
So
What about
yeah.
taping? How do you put on the tape?
So we run a banjo.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Um, they we used to tape in by hand, like just
Yeah,
trail the plaster in, and then run the tape and go over it.
yeah.
But then we got introduced to the banjo, and
Okay,
that was just a game changer. Being able to whip through a house in like not long at all.
yeah.
Um, and we've just recently, in the last couple of years, started using boxes, like auto boxes.
Beautiful. What kind of
Yeah.
boxes?
Tool Pro.
Okay, Tool Pro. I met those guys at AWCI last year, the Tool Pro guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
really nice guys.
Yeah.
Great products.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Yeah,
work a treat.
yeah, yeah. And that company is out of New Zealand, correct?
Yeah.
Or is it
I,
Australia?
yeah. It might be Aussie. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look
Yeah,
into it now.
yeah. It seemed like a really cool company. The guys that I met were really cool, though. Really cool dudes. Very,
Yeah.
very nice to me. So, very cool. So but not the bazooka. Do they make a bazooka?
No. Um, Dave, my offsider, has one,
Okay,
I think. Oh, he's got some fancy thing for doing
okay,
the inside corners and stuff like that.
okay.
But he couldn't get the hang of it, so we haven't used it. But we've got
Interesting.
so for the square stop around the top, we'll use metal corners,
Okay.
and we've got a hopper that we run them through that like butters up
Yep.
the
Yeah.
plaster onto it for us.
That's funny. That's funny. Alice was calling it buttering up the plaster
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. I like that terminology. Very cool. And so you got the boxes, but for the angles, you run those by hand?
Yeah, so we run them through hoppers, so it puts the plaster on for us, and then
Sure.
for the inside corners, we've got a roller that will just
Inside.
roll them in.
Okay. You roll them and then wipe them in with like a 6 inch.
Yeah,
Are you a six
yeah.
inch guy or like a 5 inch
Uh,
guy?
so we're a 4 inch bed in with the 4 inch, and then
Okay.
coat up with the 5 inch. But we'll do
Okay.
one side at a time.
Yeah.
So there's
And
no
you and Dave are both the same, 5 and 4?
yeah.
I use the 6.
He, I, well, he's got both. It comes down to what you're dealing with as well. Like
Sure.
if it needs a 6 inch, then we'll use a
Yeah.
6 inch.
Okay.
But majority of the time, we can get away with the 5.
Yeah, I feel like a 5. I never used a 5, but I feel like a five's a better. Doesn't put on as
Yeah,
much mud. You don't need to
yeah.
you don't need to go out that far.
Nah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Um,
Very cool.
but cross joins and external corners and stuff like that, that's all hand troweling still.
Okay. Yeah.
So we just use the boxes for the straight runs.
Okay. And then texture or a lot of level 5 over there?
Not as much as there used to be. Well, we're with some of the housing companies, they're very straightforward houses, so they don't ask a lot. Like sometimes if there's a dark color on the wall, or if the windows go right up to the edge of the wall, then like bad lighting areas and stuff, then we'll level 5. But apart from that, no one ever asks for it.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So
Hmm.
you texture then, yeah? Or no?
I was shown it
Yeah.
with like stipple ceilings and stuff like that,
Okay.
but I never really did it much. Like that was always Al always did that with his different stipple sponges and stuff like that. So
Sure, sure. All right. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Clayton Ellery, tw 28 years in the industry. That's quite a bit. Are you pretty
yeah,
happy with the way your business and your life is going now? Seems like you've come out of a very tough period
yeah,
and your business is doing good. You've got a beautiful family there. Tyler's cool.
yeah, he's all right.
He's
You're
okay.
all right.
Tyler. And then there's Tyler has a bro. Is Tyler yours or Chloe's?
No, so Tyler is Chloe's.
Tyler's Chloe's, and then Tyler has a bro, like a
Yeah,
younger bro or older.
older. Yeah, he
10.
is 14.
Oh, 14.
Yeah,
Is Ty is
and
Ty is Tyler the baby?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, he's the baby out of all 7 of them. So
he's got it good.
yeah, yeah, he does.
He's got it good. Very cool. Okay, so I would ask you or Dave, is there a method or a system in the last 6 months or a year that you've adopted that you thought was a waste of time or that didn't work, but you've shifted the way that you do it now and you've learned something very cool that you now have altered your system and you do it a different way?
I'm trying to think when we started the boxes,
Sure.
because we were
Okay.
always taught that the hand troweling is the way to go. It's the only way to do it. The
Yep.
boxes are crap.
Yeah.
We used to hand sand everything for years and years because
Okay.
he didn't trust technology. He didn't have a bloody cell phone for I can't remember how long. He's one of those
Classic.
guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then as
Forget
soon
about
as
forget
he,
about social media. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. Um, but then so when we finally got a sanding machine, he couldn't put it down, and it was funny
like
to
a
watch
like
him
a
go
plane
from,
X, like a plane X or something. Festool.
yeah, we
Cool.
call it like the called giraffes over here. Yeah, that's one of
Nice.
the brands, giraffes.
Nice. They look
Yeah,
like a giraffe. When you were with him, that was a kind of a revolution for you guys as well. You use a lot
yeah,
less dust, easier
yeah,
on the body, like whatever. Everybody seems to swear by those damn
yeah,
sanders. They're pricey as hell, but they work really well. Do
yeah,
you
yeah,
own one now?
yeah, yeah. I've got one that keeps breaking down. I'm
Okay.
sure I'm sure all the bits have got cheaper and weaker over the years.
I've heard good things about those Festols, man, and I think they sell them over there.
Yeah, yeah. So Dave has a Festal. He
Okay.
shouted out because I think it cost him 3.5 grand or something,
Yeah. Yeah, they're not
not
cheap.
more. But so we've just started using that again because my ones are broken.
Nice.
And
Dave has a flat Festool, so Clayton has a Festool.
yeah, because I do all the machining, and he'll do all the he'll normally I will machine everything, like sand everything, and
Okay.
he'll jump on his stilts and he'll do all the tops, and
Okay.
then we'll both do the bottoms to finish off the
Nice.
house. So
Nice.
it's a good system.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. And but then you said maybe the boxes were kind of a revolution for you as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I saw a guy years ago using them, and
Hmm.
I'm guessing he must have set the level quite low, so there wasn't much plaster going on.
Okay.
So when it was ready for sanding, you could still see the recesses of the edge of the joint, like
Yeah.
of the board.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's gonna look like shit. I'm never using these
Yeah.
in my life. They're
Boxes
crap.
boxes don't work, man. Yeah.
No. But then we we got shown by another plasterer how to use them and how to use them properly. And now they
Yeah.
they're an absolute game changer. The speed that you can get through a house is
Yeah.
insane.
So how
Yeah,
much time would you say that was? And kudos too for like being still open even after seeing it.
yeah,
Because like a typical drywall, I'd be like, oh, I saw a guy running those boxes and
yeah,
it doesn't the box doesn't leave enough mud.
yeah,
I'm done. I will never try it.
yeah,
Versus like, oh, maybe that guy wasn't running it right. You
yeah,
know?
exactly.
How
Yeah.
long was that? How long was that time period?
So when I saw that guy, that was probably a good oh over 10 years ago, easily over 10 years ago,
Okay,
and I held on to that for years
for
because
years.
I'm good with a trowel. I make
Of
without blowing
course.
my own trumpet. I'm bloody good.
Yeah. No, of course you
Um,
are.
but I'm not real tidy, if that makes sense. Like you know how you see
Sure.
some people with a trowel and they have straight
Yep.
lines. It looks like a box has done it.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, if it needs to go wider somewhere so it's a bit flatter, like I'll just each joint is its own joint.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't. I'd rather have a nice flat wall that looks like all over the place than have a nice like a shitty wall, but the
Yeah.
joints are straight.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. I love good box work. I love good hand trowel work too, but I think,
Yeah,
yeah, you got that box set right
yeah,
and you're good at it. Like forget about it. I don't
yeah,
think that you can do finish work personally, and I might get backlash as good as a box. Like I think if you're running your box right and you're doing it,
yeah,
maybe even if you skim behind the box, I just think it's so clean and so
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
that,
So
and hand
that's
finishers would say no, but like I
yeah.
just think it's so fast and so clean, you know?
So we will. The way that we do it is I run the box and Dave comes behind with I think it's a 12-inch blade
Okay.
or a 16, like a decent blade anyway. And so he'll
Okay.
just run over
Yeah.
to get rid of like any leave off marks or anything like that.
Yeah. Takes
And it
seconds.
works a treat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like that was a good method to skim behind the
Yeah,
box. Like a light just
yeah,
pulls it just
definitely.
perfect. Um, and then a pearl of wisdom from Nelson, New Zealand, to all of the drywallers that inspire you. It's time for you to inspire them. What is your pearl of wisdom?
Um, uh, not so much to do with plastering, but just more mental health is a big thing for me, and I think
Yeah.
mental health in construction is is crazy. It's like I there's lots of women in the trade, but I think women are better at dealing with their emotions than what guys are.
Why would you say that?
Um, I just because well, when we were a kid, we were like told not to cry
Yeah.
and like just suck it up basically. Like take a
Yeah.
concrete pill. Just
That's right.
don't make a fuss. And I feel like that mindset is it's not good.
Yeah. I
Um,
agree.
I think that you need to you need to talk.
Yeah.
If you're having a shitty time, if business is getting too much, don't be afraid to reach out to someone and say, I'm not okay. Like
Right.
that would be my pearls of wisdom just to
Can I
yeah.
ask what you do to help with your mental health stuff? What type of methods do you use to help cope?
Um, so I'm trying to get back into therapy. I'm on
Okay.
uh we have a thing in New Zealand called ACC, accident
Okay.
accident compensation, blah blah blah.
Beautiful.
Um, and for my PTSD, I was allowed to get therapy.
Okay.
Um, but the mental health sector in New Zealand is lacking, and I've been on a
Sure.
waiting list for about 3 years.
Okay.
So, um, but other than that, gaming. I know
Sure.
that may sound
Okay.
silly, but
Sure. Maybe check out a little bit.
absolutely just escape from the hustle and bustle. And it's
Yeah.
when my head starts ticking, oh good Lord, it would it just runs amok.
Yeah.
Um, and Chloe and the kids.
Chloe and the kids. All right.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Cool.
So I think it's got to be in the right atmosphere, like the right environment, and I think the right environment will help anyone's mental health.
Sure, sure. That's good advice. That's good advice. Awesome. I do the ice baths, and those do
Yeah,
help with mental health. I do about
yeah.
4 or 5 a week.
I need to look into doing that. I'm such a pussy though. Like I
Yeah.
I can stand under a scalding like shower and
Okay.
just I can handle heat quite well, but the other way round,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yep.
I mean,
Fair
I've done
enough.
it, but
Is our ice baths more popular? I know they're more popular. That practice is more popular in Europe. Is it more popular in New Zealand than maybe the United States or Canada?
I think it's stepping up quite a
Okay,
lot. Like now that it's more um, talked about and the good things that go along with it, I think people have started embracing it a bit more.
okay, very
Um,
cool. Yeah, yeah. Also nutrition and working out, working out.
yeah,
I try to be aware of that. Um, very cool. Clayton, thank you so much for
you're welcome.
not just coming on the podcast, but being very candid about your life experience, your experience in the trade, the struggles that we all deal with, man. Such a pleasure. And it's very cool that, it's Sunday morning there. It's Saturday.
Yeah,
morning
Yeah,
here.
I gotta go to work in a minute. So
Going to work on Sunday.
yeah, we've just for the moment, like things are hectic. So
Yep.
it's
Gotta make hay. They say, have you heard
yeah,
that expression? Make hay while the sun is shining? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. How's the weather there?
I have no idea.
All right.
It was dark when I got up.
Are
So
you in summer? Are you in summer there?
yeah, just hitting the other end of summer.
Yeah. See, we're coming out of winter here. We're
Oh
going in.
yeah,
We're going into summer. Yeah, spring.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
But it hasn't been super hot this year, which is good.
Good. Yeah.
Been nice days, but nothing unbearable. Well, there's been some really shitty hot days,
Yeah.
and we're working in a place with no windows at the moment. So
Right.
well, it's got windows, they just don't open much. So
Right.
that's horrendous.
Well, I don't work too hard. It is Sunday. I hope you have a fantastic day. And yeah, this will drop on Friday. It's a great episode, man. I really appreciate you coming on the Drywall Podcast today, spending your
Thank you
time.
very much. It's been awesome.
Yeah. All right, sir. We will talk soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Talk to you.
All right. Bye.
Special thanks to Clayton for being with us on the Drywall Podcast today. What a great episode, and super cool that he was as vulnerable as he was. We don't get that a whole lot, and I think mental health in the construction industry is a serious issue, and I'm glad we delved into it on this episode. Also, this episode is brought to you by the folks over at GWI in Swindon, England. I got to go over and meet Ben. We had an awesome training for Fresco Harmony. I am trying to get him on the podcast in the month of March so that we can hear his story and hear a little bit more about GWI. But those guys are awesome. Go over and give their page a like if you haven't yet. Guests of the Drywall Podcast will receive a sweet swag bucket from our friends up in Toronto at CSR. I'm working with Vince on putting together the next swag bucket that is going out. They go out about every 2 months, 3 months or so. After we get several episodes, I give him a list, and guests of the Drywall Podcast will get a sweet swag bucket, which is pretty cool just for coming on the show. Join us next Friday when we have Jay Strang out of Windsor, Ontario. He claims it's the butthole of Ontario. 8 years in the trade. Really good guy, and we have a ton of fun. You'll hear more about that throughout the week. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for tuning into the Drywall Podcast. And remember, keep drywalling.